Sadiq. Thanks for the intro. I'm restarting actually from where we ended up on September 28th when we had Johnny of Elite Web3 and backed up by Quincy of XDC Network, XDC Foundation. We talked about the road to smart markets, first step, which was DLT for business. And it was a very insightful one. I do invite you to visit our website, BSEA Europe, and access the recording. It was very interesting, very insightful, and we cast the basic, the foundation. So natural step forward now is going to the second stage. Today we're going to talk about oracles and a blockchain space. And to do that, we have an amazing parterre of speakers today. We have Team Plugin in Dubai or Sharjah. I don't remember actually. I never know what the difference is actually. Sorry, I need to revamp my knowledge about Emiratis. And we're going to have Christopher Powell. Thanks for being with us, Chris. It's nice to see you today. And we also have Johnny. So they said we are going to the second stage in our journey, ending up in November the 16th, where we're going to have the last installment. So they said, I'll leave stage to Johnny for giving a brief intro, recapping from where we ended our first meeting, and giving the kick for the next speakers today. Johnny, stage is yours.
Make the same mistake as usual. I really want to thank you guys for allowing us to be here. Eric, Andrea, it's been a wonderful experience so far to be able to bring the public a little bit more information about the road to smart markets. And now I would love to really be able to pass off the mic and the opportunity to really enlighten the public a little bit more about the power of oracles to Team PLI. As you can see, Lokesh, Karthik, and Christopher here are some of the most qualified experts in the industry to be able to give everybody a clear idea of how these decentralized applications can find the proper feeds, as well as how to access the proper data to be able to bring all of these ideas forward. And so I'm very excited because they're going to be able to walk us through a lot of these different steps, which will allow anybody to really enter the market with a different perspective. And so thank you all for being here. Looking forward to learning as always, and I'll be asking questions along the way to make sure that the public can always get a different perspective of how to really maximize these solutions and all of the information that we'll be sharing today. Thank you guys for being here.
Okay, with that, I would like to start the actual presentation. Thank you once again to everyone who have joined this presentation, and welcome you all once again. I'm the director of IT from Plugin, which is a decentralized Oracle. And with me, my fellow colleague, Mr. Karthik, who's a manager in IT, and Christopher Powell from community lead. We three will be taking care of this presentation. So with that said, Mr. Karthik, would you please start sharing, and then we will move on.
Yep, sure. Lokesh, am I audible? And also, please confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, visible. Thank you.
Okay, I once again welcome all of you to this webinar. Thanks, Angia, Eric, and Johnny for setting the tone for this meeting. Also, thanks, Lokesh, for the introduction. So yeah, so this webinar will be going through the decentralized Oracle network, plugin decentralized Oracle network, which is the choice of Oracle service for XDC blockchain network. So what we will do is like we will cover the basics right from so this what is Oracle, what is decentralized Oracle, and how plugin is specialized in decentralized Oracle services, and what are some of the use cases of plugin, and then slowly we'll dive into the technicalities of Oracle. We'll show you what are the steps required to implement the plugin Oracle network. And then Lokesh will show you a real-time demo or use case or a methodology to integrate the Oracle into your smart contracts, and then how you can build DAPPs. A high-level demo on that will help you to kickstart your usage of Oracle services. And of course, we'll have finally the Q&A session and closing remarks, and then we have Lokesh and Christopher to add on top of whatever we are discussing in this session. So first, what are oracles? I know most of you are aware of blockchain technology, and when blockchain technology started, it started to enhance and evolve many sectors like be it finance or healthcare, gaming, all those things. Blockchain started to change the way the industries were operating. But then blockchain had its limitation because blockchain is a closed network. The data within the blockchain can transfer from one node to another node, or from one system to another system easily within the blockchain. But then blockchain had its own limitations of reading data and then doing calculations or processing some events based on the data that is coming from the outside of blockchain. So for example, let's say that if I have to send let's say $10 from my side to Lokesh, I can send it. If the dollar value is stored inside the blockchain, it can easily see that I have $10, and then it will detect $10 from my account, and then it will add $10 from Lokesh account. It's all happening inside the blockchain. So the addition, and then if there is a escrow account, all those things, any data movement within the blockchain was able to handle it beautifully because it has its decentralized network. It was able, in blockchain, we have this concept of validation. If I have to write a data into blockchain, there is a consensus algorithm which will validate that the data that I am writing is right, and then the data is maintaining the state of the blockchain. So this was happening within the blockchain well, but then when there is an event that is happening outside of the blockchain, for example, instead of I sending directly $10, I'm sending to Lokesh tokens worth of 5 Ether, right? So let's say that we have XDC token, and I'm sending like 5 Ethers worth of XDC coins to Lokesh. Blockchain needs to know what is the current value of 1 Ether. So it will have to go to the exchange, see what is the current price of Ether, and then it will have to validate whether I am sending the coins worth 5 Ethers. So there is a communication that the blockchain needs to do with the exchange where the Ether value is being traded or is being stored. So there we started having problem because blockchain needs a bridge to communicate to the outside world. If we let the blockchain directly communicate with the outside world, for example, let's say that we let the data from the exchange directly being returned to blockchain, then there is this validator node or like the consensus algorithm that is going to validate whether the coins that I sent is really value of 5 Ethers. Let's say that I'm reading the value of Ether from using one API, which is going to get me the data from outside world. But the time the validator node starts validating the value, they start using another API. If there is a mismatch or during this time, the value of Ether changes, the validator node is going to they'll emit or they'll say my data is invalid, and this will disturb the state of the blockchain. So to avoid all these things, we brought this concept of oracles. The oracle is a bridge between the blockchain world and then the data that is sitting outside the blockchain. We call it as on-chain data and off-chain data. So oracle are the bridge for the blockchain to interact with the real world. So you can call it as a middleware, right? So oracle is a bridge or a middleware which allows outside data to get into blockchain, and based on this data there is a computation or there is an action happening on blockchain. So this bridge helps to make sure that the data which is coming from the outside world is coming from an authentic source, and then it is validated correctly. So that's how oracle started to play a role in the blockchain, because when blockchain was communicating only within itself, there were not much of a use cases for blockchain to evolve. So blockchain needed to start interacting with the outside world. For example, let's say there is a big enterprise and they already have a backend system, and they cannot start fresh into blockchain. So they wanted to still allow blockchain to start reading or to access the data in the blockchain, then the backend that they already have in the existing system, and probably use the data and make some actions in the blockchain. So for this, Oracle started to play a role. And let's say that there is a weather, like for example, based on the weather change, and if the weather is adverse, and because of the adverse weather, there is a loss to the farmers. And let's say in blockchain, we have an insurance use case that is built. If there is a adverse weather, and because of the adverse weather, there is a damage to the crops, we will provide insurance to the farmers. Now, the weather data is coming from outside world. It's not in the blockchain. So there should be a API that can fetch the real-time weather data and then send that data to blockchain. So blockchain can collect this information, and then based on the smart contracts written on the occurrence of this event, there is certain actions that is going to happen in the blockchain. So oracles were playing this role. They collect the data or the weather data from the APIs, and then they bridge it to the blockchain. Blockchain gathers the information and then triggers certain actions based on the information that it receives from the outside world. So that's how Oracle started to enhance the blockchain technology. So it gave a new dimension to blockchain technology because it opened the wings of blockchain, where the existing system started to integrate with the blockchain, and there are integrations happening between blockchain to blockchain. Like we using using a type of decentralized Oracle, we can create a chain where two blockchains can start communicating with each other. So that's how Oracle helped blockchain. Now, but then when we started using the oracles, we had to face a problem. The problem is called as the Oracle problem. So I'll tell you what it is, right? So what is blockchain? Blockchain is a way where we break this centralized authority or a centralized entity which holds the data, and then we want to make it decentralized. We brought this concept of decentralized ledger technology, where the nodes are multiple, and then the data is replicated, and then it's not just one entity that controls the entire activity. So we have validator nodes, and then consensus algorithm. So we brought this decentralization beautifully in the blockchain technology. When we brought in oracles, this decentralized blockchain was trying to get data from one API, right? So let's say that I am giving the weather data from one API to the blockchain, and then the API that I'm using to send the weather data is still a single entity. Like through one API, I'm getting the data. And if for some reason the blockchain is not able to access the data from the single source of API, or if someone manipulates or changes the API, that it starts sending false data, then the beauty of blockchain, its decentralized thing is lost, right? So I'm putting a decentralized technology reliant on a centralized oracle. So that way the concept of decentralization is slowly lost because of using centralized oracle. So that we had many cases where we saw this centralized oracle being attacked there. At one point, the centralized oracle failed, because of which the blockchain had to face severe losses. Like we have seen cases where there were losses, and then people lost money because of the Oracle network in DeFi, all those things. So that problem is called as Oracle problem. So assume this situation where we are relying on a single API provider for Oracle services. And then if the Oracle started to give in false data, right? Not intentionally, but for some like various issues, it started giving false data. Then blockchain is going to accept the false data, and then it will start processing everything in the blockchain. So we call this terminology as garbage in and garbage out, right? So you give the false data and you'll get the false output, because blockchain trusts this Oracle entity, and then it triggers action based on the data that is received from the Oracle bridge. So all these together, we call it as an Oracle problem, mainly centralized Oracle problem. That's how we got into this concept of decentralized Oracle. Like how we have decentralized ledger technology, we also wanted to utilize the same concept in the Oracle. We don't want to rely on single API provider. We don't want to rely on the source of off-chain data from single node. We wanted to make it decentralized. Decentralization happens at multiple levels. So what we do is, like, we have aggregators, right? So for example, let's say I want value of Ether today. I want value of any cryptocurrency today, or any commodity today. I can get it from multiple exchanges. So there are some aggregators who collect the data from multiple exchanges, and then they do the aggregate, and then they give a a value which is close to the real time, right? So there are multiple aggregators that are available. So what oracles do is they involve multiple aggregators. So that's where the first decentralization comes in, and then they get the value of APIs not from one node, multiple nodes. So the oracle itself is split into multiple nodes. So we'll have node operators sitting at multiple places, probably in different geographical region, and each of them individually start sending the data. So what happens is the blockchain will get the data of the off-chain data aggregated and collected at multiple points from multiple node operators, and then the values when it comes to the blockchain will have its of course the algorithm to get the real-time data. It have its own aggregation value. It will omit the completely out of the range values, and then it will pick the most reliable and trustable value of the off-chain data. So that's how the decentralized oracle solved the oracle problem, and then it helped the major industries like DeFi, gaming. So for example, if you're playing with cryptocurrencies, or if you're in the gaming where you have to generate a random number, right? So we have this random number generator, or VRF, which is one of the typical use cases of Oracle. So these are real-time values that you need from the outside world, and the authenticity or the validity of this should be a single, like it should be very like a single source of truth, I would say, even though it's collecting from decentralized technology, because trusting on this, there is a lot of actions happening on the blockchain. So that's where decentralized Oracle came into picture, and then it started helping the blockchain to integrate with off-chain data, right? Like, so now we have decentralized blockchain and a decentralized Oracle bridging the blockchain to the off-chain world. So now it is more secure, like people started trusting more. We have built-in reputation logic, all those things for Oracle, which is available online. You can check which Oracle is more repeatable, because based on the value, that the truth of the data that's being provided by the oracles, the decentralized Oracle plays a big role there. Yeah, we have many decentralized Oracle out there, and so plugin is one of the most, or like many popular Oracle network, decentralized Oracle network services. It's the choice of Oracle service for XDC network. So we from plugin, we provide a secure and scalable decentralized Oracle network to XDC, and of course, like it's blockchain agnostic. So we provide cost effective, right? So of course, like there is Oracle, and then Oracle has its own node operators. We need to collect data from API providers, aggregate it, and then provide it to the blockchain. It all has its own gas fee and all those things, Oracle fee that we have to pay. And plugin has a very reliable, and then I think we have around 1,800 nodes across the globe. I'll come to the data later. So plugin is one of the decentralized Oracle service with the most number of nodes. So the data comes from various node operators sitting across the world. Like we have in Japan, Australia, and all those things. Like the node operators are spread across, and then the data is being aggregated from multiple sources. So, but then we provide still affordable and the cost-effective Oracle service to the blockchain. So like we now know what is Oracle, why blockchain needs Oracle, and then what was the Oracle problem, how decentralized Oracle solved this problem, and how it is helping the blockchain technology to talk to real world data. And now we also quickly saw about plugin, right? So how plugin is playing a major role in the XDC network as a choice of decentralized Oracle provider, the decentralized Oracle network provider. We have many use cases as I'm stating now, but then before I jump into the use cases, on the introduction aspect about the Oracle, about the decentralized Oracle, about plugin and XDC and plugins used in XDC, I would like to see if Lokesh, Christopher, or Johnny, you have anything to add?
You pretty well covered.
I gotta say,
most of
Karthik,
it.
I
Just
think you're hitting on some tremendous point. Primarily, I think one of the things that many might be curious about, obviously, as you mentioned, DeFi and gaming, but also supply chain, right? Essentially, it allows us to validate participants of a transaction by being able to know essentially which wallets were part of the entire process. And more importantly, as we focus on keeping real prices of assets live, obviously through these transactions. I think that this goes back to the point that Quincy made in our last engagement about oracles, specifically the decentralized oracle of the XDC network being the first DApplet, which allows to be as an infrastructural technology for every single application being built on top of the network. And I know it may be hard from your side to explain it to the public, but I just want to bring up the true value of a decentralized oracle, because as a software development agency who's constantly trying to go ahead and bring the best products to the market, we have to know who we can trust for reliable data. And this is where I truly understand that the price feeds, the weather forecast, and the verifiable random number allows for a multitude of use cases. But where I really believe that there is the most value is in supply chain, because it connects everything seamlessly. I don't know if there's anything else that maybe Lokesh or Christopher you'd like to add on.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, just to add on, is just like knowing that supply chain is, all these use cases, very important. But I do agree with you, Johnny, that supply chain management, and Go plugin and, oracles are very crucial. Looking into real world data, inventory levels, shipping delays, quality control metrics, these are things that are very imperative to, be able to, connect that bridge between the outside world and the blockchain. And, Go plugin being the first oracle on the XDC network, that not only leverage Go plugin and leverage, us to be able to take that center stage, but also just like you said, Johnny, we are indeed an infrastructure-based company. So, ideally, when it comes to DApps and other applications, the information should be coming to us first to be able to set up, such DApps. So that's my little 2 cents on that.
Thanks, Christopher. Lokesh, anything from your side?
Pretty much covered, Karthik. Thank you. Can you move on?
And if I could, Karthik, just before you get going,
Can you hear me?
Sorry, Lokesh.
I didn't hear Lokesh.
Sorry.
Is he speaking?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, I just want to make sure that before you transition, it's a point where maybe we should highlight who really benefits from all of this value is not just applications, but it's really the IoT devices that may rely on this data in order to bring the true value to these decentralized applications. And all of these supply chain participants and vendors and any type of beneficiary here really relies on being able to read something that they trust. And in most cases, when it comes to being able to issue tokenized data credits or assets on chain based upon the data that's flowing, it comes back to who do the IoT devices trust? And that's why I'm really excited for everybody here to get a little bit more of an insight as to exactly what you said. What is the Oracle problem and how you've been able to solve it? So really appreciate all the detail.
Can you hear me okay now? Oh, Karthik, sorry, I was trying to speak
Yes, Lokesh.
multiple times. But Johnny and Christopher, they both covered pretty much. So we can move forward.
Okay, so thanks, Johnny, Christopher, and Angela. So yes, so the first 3 use cases of decentralized Oracle plugin is this. But then I also have a supply chain DApp that is built by plugin, like which we call it as Cropy. It serves 2 purposes. One is, of course, the compensation part for the farmers, and then we also are building a seed to shelf journey. Right, so throughout the supply chain journey of a seed, like we call it as farm to fork, right? So we are trying to cover the entire supply chain and the journey of the seed into the retail store in the blockchain technology, and using a QR code, scanning of the QR code, the user is able to track. And then we are also trying to connect Oracle services here, like based on the shipment, based on the event occurring in the logistics, and when the completion of this event, there is a mechanism, or there is, for example, let's say that there is a SMS that needs to trigger to the distributor that the goods are departed or docked into the station, like in the harbor. So that's a event, that a real-time event that happens outside blockchain, and based on that event, the supply chain has to do some action in the blockchain technology. So that's one of the use cases that we are currently working on. We are using that. We are building that for two use cases. One is, of course, the trade finance application that we are working, where the ownership of the e-bill, or we are also tracking the ownership of or the transfer of ownership of the goods, right from the buyer, supplier, financier, and based on the transfer of ownership real time, there are events of the finance movement of funds from escrow happening in the blockchain technology. So that's where Oracle comes into play in the supply chain and the trade finance sector. So Oracle captures this real-time data, and it should be very authentic, because we are dealing with money, and then based on the reliable event that's happening, and I'm going to release funds to the supplier, or I'm going to release funds from the finance to the supplier. So all this happening. So blockchain, yes, of course, decentralized Oracle plays an important role, and plugin is doing that. So that, Johnny, yes, you are right. Supply chain is one of the major sector which is getting a lot of benefit from the decentralized Oracle network. And the next use case, IoT data, is of course one of my favorite use cases or DApp that we built in
just to add on to it, so the supply
sorry?
chain use case, we are also capturing ESG score, for the trade that is happening in the supply chain, like what is before ESG, like before the trade is happening, and then after the trade is happening. That's another important use cases, or I would say the API which we are capturing via plugin.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, now the talk of the R is all ESG, right? So be it supply chain or any industry, the ESG is now something that we have to look into. And I think another 3 years, ESG is going to be a major role player in all the industries. So coming to IoT, yes, we have a use case where we are working on carbon offsetting. Right? So we are collecting the data of carbon being offset, and based on the tons of carbon being offset, we are giving carbon credits. So this data, the carbon offsetting, the amount of carbon being offset by any entity, like be it the R use cases on the cars, right? Like the more you drive the car in eco mode, the less the carbon that you emit. And then we have IoT sensors in the car, which collects the carbon emission, like the average carbon emission of the car. Like these are IoT sensors, and they send data continuously. And this data will go to cloud, and then we have Oracle services, decentralized Oracle services that gather the data from the IoT clouds, from IoT sensors to the cloud, and from the cloud it goes to the API provider. And from there we do some off-chain computation, because IoT data are humongous, right? Like, so it sends real-time data every minute or every second. So we have Oracle's take some part of the load off-chain, it does some off-chain computation, and then bridges the data to the blockchain. So decentralized Oracle services play an important role, particularly if you want to integrate IoT data, which is real-time continuous, and then you need to do some off-chain computation and then take the computed data to the blockchain technology. So that's another use case. Yes, when I show the plugin wheel, which is the next thing. So these are some of the DApps that we built. But then let me also talk about this the other use cases, right? Weather forecast. That's the example that I used when I wanted to explain what is Oracle and how it is connecting. So yeah, for example, if there is a crop damage, and then we collect this weather data, and based on that we do this. So Oracle's provide that. And then price feeds. Another example that I took is the price of the ether, right? Like price of the ether, and based on the value of the ether, you have to do some calculation. So these are something we call it as data feeds. It's not just price of cryptocurrency. Let's say that you are trading on commodities, right? Like you are trading on nickel, and you want to trade nickel against the price of US dollar. So the price of nickel against the US dollar is coming from multiple exchanges. And then if you have any logic that is built in blockchain that is going to rely on this data, price of nickel against US dollar, then you need this data from external world. So this data, we call it as price feed or data feed, which is one of the popular or the main use case, I would say, of plugin decentralized Oracle network. We have nearly like close to 100 data feeds. We have cryptocurrencies, we have stable coins, we have commodities. So all these prices we are gathering from like multiple exchanges, like coming to aggregators, from aggregators to reliable API providers, and from API providers to plugin decentralized network to the blockchain. So we are almost like, even for, we are also providing custom feeds just in case if you are looking for any specific price feed, because my industry is using this, like let's say coffee, right? So I want data feed which is giving me price of coffee against USD or gold against USD. Yes, we have it ready, but just in case if you need custom feed, plugin decentralized Oracle also helps you to get custom data feeds. These are very much useful in the DeFi industry, or if you are in trade supply chain, like where you are relying on commodity pricing, then yes, plugin decentralized Oracle will be a good fit for your reliable data service. So coming to this, I'll not dive deep into this technology wheel. So this, we call it as plugin technology wheel. This gives you an idea of different
Karthik,
types of
sorry,
DAPPs that we are building.
we cannot see. I'm not able to see the plugin technology wheel. Maybe Chris, are you able to see?
Oh, is it?
The other slide?
No problem, Lokesh.
I see it on my
What about
side here,
this?
so it might be you, Lokesh.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Okay. Okay, then I'll proceed, Lokesh. I know you are seeing this circle day in, day out, so good. So let me go forward. So as you see, this plugin technology wheel has 4 pillars, right? So we have feeds. As I said, feeds are our popular use case, right? Like we provide data feed services to multiple clients now. And then we have nodes. They are the backbone of decentralized network, any decentralized network for that matter. So as I said, we have around 1,800 node operators, and then they are our key people, I would say. They are providing data. They connect to the API providers. They gather the data, and then they give it to aggregator of plugin, and then plugin does some aggregation and give the data to blockchain. So when we say decentralized Oracle, like the more node operators you have, the more decentralization you have. Like you get data from different node operators. So in that way, plugin is more decentralized, and then we have beautiful decentralized like aggregation algorithms to do that and gather the data. And of course, we have our own feeds. Like as I said, we have for crypto, we have for ESG, we also have proof of reserve data feeds. And on the green, what you see are all the different DAPPs that we have created, right? So we are into different segments: investment, food and supply chain. We have a use case that is built on fractionalization of real estate, right? So where we tokenize an asset and fractionalize it and distribute the ownership of one asset to multiple people, allowing global investors. So these are some of the use cases that we have built using plugin and plugin network, plugin Oracle network. Of course, we are also into project services for clients to migrate from Web 2 to Web 3. So that's about the technology wheel, which is very much available in our website. We also have a video on how plugin is helping the different use cases and all. So this is our data. Like as I said, we have around 1,800 plus node operators and 85 plus data feeds that are currently being currently built and providing data. But then we are also introducing this custom data feed where based on the need of the client, we can create a custom data feed. And we are also creating a low code platform where the developers or like if the developer wants to use data feed in this in his or her smart contract, they can do it on their own with minimal coding. So they can just integrate plugin data feed and then start using it. Like we are abstracting all the complexity of the Oracle services, API, all those things. With a piece of code, they can just copy the code from plugin and then put it in their code, and it will start working. Just like click of a button, it should give you the data. So now, yeah, I told you that with a piece of code, you should be able to start using plugin in your code. So how to do that? Like there are multiple steps that you have to do. to integrate plugin in your smart contract. So where Lokesh will give you a real-time demo and he'll explain you what are the steps that are required to integrate plugin in your smart contract and for building tabs or whatever the use case.
Thank you, Karthik. You may stop sharing
Lokesh, over to
because
you.
I cannot see your screen. I will start sharing. Okay. Please confirm if you can see.
Okay, I see.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Lokesh?
Yes.
Lokesh, I see you're on mute and
I can
we are
see your
not able
screen,
to hear
Lokesh.
you.
I can see it too.
I see it also. Lokesh, not going to hear you. You can go ahead.
Karthik? Karthik, can you hear me now? Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I'm just waiting for
Chris can
Lokesh
hear me.
to see. Let me do one thing. Let me call Lokesh and see if he has any problem with the network.
Karthik.
Just go on mute for a minute.
Andrea, can you hear me? Chris?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I think
Loud
other
and
Andrea.
clear, Lokesh. I can see the screen.
Yeah, Johnny, are you able to hear Lokesh?
Yes, I think I can hear Chris. Others, I'm not sure.
Perfect.
Johnny? Hello?
Is it just me? Christopher,
Yeah,
maybe
I
can you
can hear
confirm
him.
if you can hear Lokesh?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, then we are good. Yeah, okay, I'm
Okay,
not able
fine.
to hear. Maybe it's my
So
system.
I hope you can see my screen as well, Chris. If you can please confirm.
Yes, I can.
Okay, okay. So thank you so much once again, Karthik, for giving those beautiful presentation. So now with that, I would just go ahead with the plugin integration. How, as a developer, we all have that complexity, right? Like how we can set up a DApp, which is we call it as decentralized application, and how this can speak to the client and server architecture. Because when it comes to blockchain, most of us will have a questions. Okay, there are so many ifs and but. Okay, where I should go to this specific web3.js? How do I integrate it? How can I make this app works functionally? And so many questions, right? What we thought, why don't we build a scaffolding for the developers so that they can speed up the DApp in few minutes? So to start with, step one, like you can just go ahead and explore the data feeds in the platform.
I just see someone posted in the Q&A that they are not able to hear Lokesh either.
Okay.
So someone from the participants, can you confirm if you're able to hear Lokesh?
Yes, we can hear you, Lokesh. Continue, please.
Okay, I think Jim is not able to hear me.
Please move forward, Lokesh. We can hear you and we can see your screen.
Okay. Then I think Karthik and a few others are not able to hear. I'll move forward. Apologize for others. So we just need to, view the data feeds, explore the feeds, and then, you need to find out, okay, which feeds are suitable for your use cases, and just copy that, snippet of code and go from there. That's a quick, idea. I'll quickly show you how it works. Just go to feeds.goplugin.co, which is our data feeds platform. Okay. Different feeds, like which varies from different category altogether, which Karthik just mentioned, right? We have categories such as stable coins, cryptocurrencies, foreign exchanges, commodity, and etc. And let's assume that you want to use this XDC USDT in your smart contract to fetch XDC price feed, just go here, and then you can see an idea of what is the contract address which fetches the information from the Oracle, and what is the actual Oracle address which receives that event request from the contract address, and what is the job ID which is actually performing these calculations. At the end of the day, this single source, so it is basically recommended for the testing. Whereas if you want to have an aggregated value, you may contact us. We can able to set this up from different data sources. So right now, this specific XDC USDT price feed is fetching it from Crypto Compare, and we can also able to generate aggregated value from different data sources. Okay, so we just wanted to show this is a piece of code. All you have to do is just copy this program, go to Remix, deploy it. That's it. So the data will be fetching from this contract, and you should be able to see the price, as well as you can able to view it, and take it to your smart contract. And let me show you another npm package which we have built from a plugin like React Solidity XDC3, which you can get it from npm.js.com. Basically, what we have done here, we identified a lot of issues when it comes to integrating the smart contract with the client application, right? So what we thought, why don't we bring this package in a simplified manner? As a end users, all you have to do is just use this package, use this npm package in your DApp, and just call the function. For example, if you see here, execute transaction, when you use it, it just send the transaction into the blockchain and writes the data, right? And if you want to query the data from the blockchain, you just need to call the query data. If you want to read the events from the blockchain, call the query events. Likewise, there are so many functions which we have embedded into this React Solidity XDC3 package. So let me show you how to do it quickly. We have a scaffolding, okay, which we have built in this package. github.com go plugin dapp react solidity XDC3. Okay, so just open this. You can see the execution steps, how to implement this in a simplified manner. I'll quickly show you how it works. Okay, just copy this. Okay, just git clone it. Once it's done, go to open this in Visual Studio Code. You can open any IDE which you prefer. Then you can see set of packages, right? Like folders, application folders, which actually gives you a front end, like a simple UI through which you can access the blockchain. Like you can write the data or you can read the data. Contracts which will have a existing smart contract, like to show you how the price feed can be integrated using the plugin library. So we have a plugin client library from version 0.8, using which you should be able to read the data and write the data. And the script basically to deploy the contract onto the blockchain, right? So let me show you how it works. So just hit npm install. First you have to do npm install, which will basically download all the packages and create a node modules. So basically this is a sample smart contracts deployment script, and I'm using hard hat as a development environment. I hope there is no questions because I'm just looking at the screen. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. Now once it is done, all you have to do is npx auto run. Another thing you have to do is, basically you have to copy your private key from your wallet and put it here. Quickly, I will stop sharing for the security purpose. I'll create a .env file. Okay, so now I'm sharing my screen again. Hope you can see my screen. So I created a .env file and added a private key. Copied the private key from my XDC wallet and pasted there. Okay. So once it is done, I go ahead and run this command. And followed by a Apothium network. Once you hit this command, all it will just compile the smart contract and find out if there is any error or warning. And once it is done, it will deploy the smart contract onto the blockchain. You can see the message here, right? Sample is deployed to the blockchain. So we have two contracts, both are deployed. If you can find the result here, output.json, just copy this down, go to app folder, wherein you need to tell the application, okay, this is my smart contract, and now please connect with the blockchain, right? So once it is done, now go back to app folder, do the npm install again. It will take a couple of minutes, depends upon your internet speed and then the RAM. Meanwhile, I'll show you quickly what this folder does. So in this source folder, we have a component, right? The sample component and header component. In the sample component, we have sample.js, which basically have the React Solidity XDC3 package, which we have built. And I'm invoking execute transaction, Ethereum context, log, and query data, basically to read and write the data. So if you look at it, we have few functions, register flights, fetch flight, and then get price info and so on. So if you see here, register flight, I'm just passing few variable like flight address, carrier flight number, service provider name into the execute transaction function, right? So I just need to pass additional variable to, I'll quickly explain how it works. But if you look at it, a simple method, execute transaction method, which I'm invoking it from React Solid XDC3, but I'm passing context, sample contract context, and the provider, which is the Web3 provider, and register flight is a function from the smart contract. I'll quickly show the smart contract. This is a smart contract which we are going to execute now. So let's see how it, what are the functionality we have. In the sample contract, we have a few events like flight events, insurance events, request creator, and so on. And we have registered flight, which takes 3 parameter: flight address, carrier flight number, and service provider name. So I'm just passing these 3 variable here, right? So now the npm install is done. Let me execute this. npm start. Okay, now if you could see, the app is bootstrapping or just getting executed. I'm waiting for the UI. Okay, and this is a high level UI, which you can find it from the scaffolding which we have created, like DAPPs, React Solid XC3, and you can see all the functions, right? So first you have to go ahead, I will clear the caching to show you from the beginning. So once it is done, connect the wallet. You can see XDC Pay, Wallet Connect, and Taurus enabled. Just click XDC Pay and you can see in the console, contract is created and it is connected and so on. Now go ahead and launch register flight. When you do that, the XDC pay gets invoked, submit, it fetches you the transaction. Just give us a few seconds and it is done, right? Dash is created, go to block scan, you can find the transaction results, right? Success. So in few minutes you are able to do the git clone, do the npm install, and then bootstrap it. So at the end of the day, connecting the smart contract with the client application is made simple using this DApp React Solidity x3 repository, and we have this package available to use. It's like a open source. You can use it, you can customize it. Of course, we have also wrapped it. It's like a wrapper with the existing Web3.js library. We have made it simple so that the developers will feel comfortable in accessing it in one-stop shop. So with that, that's a quick demo we wanted to show, and I would like to give a control back to Karthik to talk on the copy, like supply chain use cases.
Thanks, Lokesh.
Any questions here?
So there are a few questions that I answered in the chat, Lokesh. Maybe
you can move it, copy. Yeah,
sure.
Well, maybe we can give answer directly. I mean, we have already answered by written form, so that everybody can see. Maybe you can articulate a little. What do you think? I think this first one from is asking, how do smart oracles differ from traditional oracles, and what are the potential advantages and challenges associated with their use in decentralized application and blockchain ecosystems?
So Andrea, it seems Karthik have answered all the questions. He replied back.
Yeah, Lokesh, maybe you can go through my responses, and for any questions, if you want to speak out and then answer on the phone, please feel free to.
Sure.
Christopher and Johnny, same. So in the meantime, let me quickly
before
show
you
the.
jump in there really quick, maybe we could just use a quick use case that maybe can help the public understand a little bit more about the power of oracles, using a little bit of the information from our previous discussion, and being mindful of the time. I don't want to take up too much. It's more so on the side of, as we may have discussed in the past, there will be trade finance applications, there will be supply chain applications, and there will be retail applications. They're all going to be calling and looking for information. And obviously, our trusted data provider will be there. But I think it's important to remind the public as well that as these applications are going, it's key that as we create trade finance, supply chain, or retail applications, that we keep in mind, as they said, there will be a cost to the calls. And so it's really important that we keep this in mind, because as you prepare to build your architecture for your applications, you always want to keep it in mind that there will be a cost to the calls, and therefore there's a cost to settle and there's a cost for the calls. So you got to be aware of the external cost, even though you have increased efficiency in specific tasks, whether in this case it's the automation of a specific task, as we're going to see with Crappie. It becomes more so on the understanding as a business owner what it will take to make sure that you have the assets ready, so that when you're able to go ahead and step towards these directions of implementation of oracles, you also don't find yourself deficient in the gas token that will be allowing you to take that opportunity. And so I say that because it's been very eye-opening to see you guys bring it all together. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Chris.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's very eye-opening. At first glance, this is why I say, like before, it really is infrastructure based, because for a regular consumer, oracles and like the back end of it is it would be a lot for like an average person to actually be able to like grasp all of it in. But once they actually are able to see some of these use cases and how it actually is being able to be applied in these real world scenarios is when it will be an eye opener. So seeing something like a crappie or even the weather, the weather nodes, I have one actually right in front of me. I'm looking at it and, it just opens people's eyes to see the power of how all of this connects. So.
Yeah, and as Lokesh mentioned, supply chain is like one of the hot cake that we are working on. Lokesh mentioned about the ESG score, right? So for one of the client, we are working on ESG score, which is being provided by an external trustable API provider. So ESG scores are given for a trade, or sometimes ESG scores are given for a company, and based on the ESG score, the trade get financed, right? Like it get more chances of getting funding. For example, like if you are working on a recycled product which you recycled from a plastic which would cause harm to the environment, then your ESG score is high. So if you are looking for a finance, then you get more preference. So this ESG score is gathered from external source through Oracle. So we are providing that service, right? If like supply chain, for example, the movement of the inventories and tracking those inventories, the real-time event, like we have various shipping industries, they are using ERP applications which track the movement of the logistics, right? So these are real-time activities that are happening outside the world. And then plugin is, or the decentralized Oracle service providers, or those, they gather the data from those external systems and then move it to the blockchain, and based on that we do that. So that's the logic that we are applying for Cropy, where we are using two Oracle services. One is the weather forecast for compensation. Two, we are seed to shelf, where we are using the supply chain Oracle service for supply chain, where we are tracking the journey, and then we are bringing in all the distributors, retailers on board, and on each occurrence of the event, the people are notified via SMS, like this event has occurred, and SMS is triggered from the blockchain technology that yes, the moment the goods are shipped, so anytime you are going to receive your goods, like fruits or vegetables. So that way we track the journey of the fruits and saving the shelf time, right? Like there are perishable goods, so we want to make sure that the time are captured correctly. So that's where Oracle services comes into play in the supply chain in Cropy. That's the idea. I know we are just on time. Eric and Gia, back to you.
It was very insightful one, indeed. Deep dive into new technology. I can't thank you enough for being with us. I'll handle it back to Rick if he wants to some comments on his side of the supply chain professional to have his feedback into this, because I know we're talking about new topics, new technology. Rick, what's your take?
Well, I would like to thank you, our guests, very much. I often joke that I cannot code to save my own life. It is absolutely true. So I'm glad we have people like yourselves that get all this stuff behind the screen, right? It's important to understand these new technologies. Hopefully, we've brought a bit of that to you today. We are on top of the hour. We appreciate everybody joining in today. Thank you to our guests for the great content. Yes, oracles are important. We saw a bit of in the questions, right? What's the difference between your traditional oracle and smart oracles? The world is moving to Web3. The world is moving to better applications, and supply chain needs this very much. So thank you for all your effort. Thank you for the great use cases, and we hope that you've learned a lot. I know I did. We are recording this session. We did record the session, and we'll make the recording available on our YouTube channel in a couple of days. So again, thank you very much for joining today, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, and see you on November the 16th for the final stage, as I said at the beginning. we're going to disclose many more things to wrap it up in style. So still to disclose who's going to be there speaking, but I think you're going to enjoy it and will understand why we conceived this series of meetings. So hopefully we're going to go on with this type of things also in 2024. Thank you guys for being with us. I cannot thank you enough for these insights. See you very soon again.
Thank you.